Hi friends, family, and followers of Traveling with Tonya. So it has been a crazy journey full of twists and turns ever since last summer when I sold my belongings in my condo in Florida, got in my RV, actually got in my car with the travel trailer RV attached, and drove off out west where I'd never been and was super excited to go visit and start doing some hiking and visiting national parks and just tour this amazing country, most of which I have really never seen. And I still have a lot of it that I haven't seen. So I've been getting a lot of questions over the last couple of months, and especially here lately around the last couple of weeks. What's going on with the RV? Is the park in? Has it been fixed? For those who know that it was broken down, other people know that I'm in Florida right now, so they think like the adventure is over. Did you sell the RV? Did you not like the life? So it's time for an update. And as I said, this is full of twists and turns. Well, it's about to take another twist. So I'm going to give you an update on what to expect in 2022 from Traveling with Tonya. So I'm going to try to not make this a super long video and share all the nitty gritty details, give you an overview, and that means I need to start all the way back in September when I was in the Tetons. Long story short, my came back from a hike in Grand Teton National Park and all of my electric was out in the RV. Nothing would work. Lights, my water, what's a water pump, makes the water come out from the tank. So I couldn't use the toilet, couldn't take showers, had no heat, and that was a big thing because it was really cold in the Tetons when this happened, and they'd had an early season snowstorm. So anyway, got an RV guy out there, and he, mobile RV guy, he attempted to fix it, not gonna get into all those details, was a huge mess. He actually made it worse. I knew he was making it worse, and so I finally called around all over the place, 4 different states, Colorado, Montana, Wyoming, and Idaho, and only one RV repairman either could actually get me in less than like 3 to 4 months, or would actually call me back and even talk to me and listen to me about what was going on and try to diagnose the problem. And this guy was in Buena Vista, Colorado, which if you're at all familiar with Buena Vista, Colorado, it's kind of in the middle of nowhere, but if you're into 14ers and hiking, it's right smack in the middle of somewhere. So I had actually been to BV, that's what they call it, to BV in August when I first went to Colorado. So I was familiar with the area, got in my car, drove to Colorado. It was only a 4-hour drive, but 4.5-hour drive. But on the way there, whatever the previous guy had done with working with my electrical, my RV caught fire while I was driving. Not the actual RV, thank God. The actual, home and my belongings did not catch fire. It was an electrical fire on the outside. What it actually was my brake line and my emergency brake line. But I didn't know. I was driving, and seriously, like, praise the Lord, I randomly decided to stop and get gas because there are like no gas stations out west. So I saw one, and I'm like, I better stop. And I did, and I see smoke coming out from under my RV. And I'm at a gas station, and I have 2 full propane tanks and a full generator of gas, not to mention my car that has a half a tank of gas left in it, and had no idea that there were flames trailing on the road behind me from my RV. So seriously averted what could have been like, like the end of traveling with Tonya forever. But that's not where the story ends, obviously. Again, long story, figured out, how to keep going and got to BV, got to this guy. He looked at it, said, you have no brakes, you have no emergency brakes, and your axle is bent. So I need you to stay put. He set me up on his property, told me, I stayed the night there, told me the next day, go hiking. He's going to diagnose everything. He got the interior lights working in like 15 minutes. Super simple fix. He knew exactly what to do. So 2 weeks with the other guy in the Tetons, and he fixes it in 15 minutes. The brake line, everything, he's like, nothing was burned too severely. It can totally be fixed. I can fix all this, no big deal. But the real problem is, in order to do that, I have to take the wheels off and I have to take the axle off, and your axle is bent and you need a new one. And he can't build one. Only the manufacturer, Forest River, can build one. And Forest River is missing a part. They don't have it in stock right now. It's on back order, sitting on a ship somewhere. Gotta love what's going on with the world right now. So this was October 1st. And Forest River told us 4 to 6 weeks for the axle, and then they had to ship it to Colorado. And he said once he got it, it was like a 2-hour job. But he needs to get it first. So we need to get the part. Or Forest River needs to get the part. So I decided to go car camp across Utah, where you saw my travels with the big 5 national parks in Utah in October. And then a lot of other backstory to everything that was going on with all this. There was a lot of emotional, just a lot of personal things that had been happening in my life, really dating back about a year or potentially even further back. But it all, like the perfect storm of my emotional, mental, and spiritual state was at an all-time low that first week of October. And let's just say I was in a really bad place mentally. So a friend of mine, my best friend actually, many years ago had gone to a counseling retreat in Colorado. And she was like, while you're in Colorado, you should look this place up and, think about attending it since you can't go anywhere or do anything. And I'm like, well, where is it? And she goes, Buena Vista. I was like, okay, God. Okay, God. All of the RV guys in 4 states, the only one who would answer, and to a place where I've been and like in Colorado, and there's like lots of hiking and good stuff around, is in Buena Vista. That's where I'm stuck for the next 4 to 6 weeks. Stuck, because it's a great place to be. And that's where this Christian-based amazing counseling center is. So called, was like, do you have any openings? And someone had just canceled for the last week of October and the first week of November. So you saw me making some posts about my counseling retreat, and it was amazing, and I learned so much. And honestly, what I'm going to do is probably start weaving in, I've actually started writing some of this, weaving into my physical adventures and the journey there, alongside retelling some stories of like my emotional journey and the adventures in spiritual abuse and emotional abuse and healing from all of that. So now we're into November. Sorry, I'm going to try to make this long and tell you the new exciting news. I'm 7 minutes in. Okay, so we're into November. Decided to go to Indiana, I hadn't been there in like 3 years. That's where I grew up, if you don't know. And so I decided to see friends and family in Indiana, spend Thanksgiving with them. On the way there, catch the fall colors that I missed so much of the Smokies and Appalachia area. So did some hiking, waterfall chasing, headed up to Indiana. Again, God worked that out because my aunt and my uncle both passed away, brother and sister, the week before Thanksgiving. So I was able to be there for all of that and be with family, and it was kind of weird. My 2 weeks in Indiana were kind of odd. But then after that was like, oh, RV should be fixed. I can go back out to Colorado and begin the adventures again. And like, we haven't even heard from Forest River. Still to this day, Forest River is like ignoring us. They have no information. I mean, that's all they can tell us is we don't know where the part is. We can't track it. We can't ship it. It's sitting on a ship somewhere. So had a heart-to-heart with my RV guy. He said, you can keep it here, no charge, thank God, because I'm not having to like store it somewhere during all of this. And I was able to live in it when I did the counseling, because I can live in it, like the inside, everything works. I just can't drive it. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go to Florida for, a couple more weeks, maybe through Christmas, and, give it another month and see what happens. So I'm down here, and like, he just calls me, and we bottom line is, like, what I'm trying to say is, like, we just don't know. So I started praying about just getting a rental in Florida and just staying here, if I can find something furnished month to month, furnished short term, and I can renew another short term. Like, I didn't want to sign a year lease, like, it's so hard to find a rental right now, and everything's so expensive, and I felt like I was throwing money away, and I didn't want to, like, impose on a friend for an indefinite period of time. Like, that gets old. Start out wearing your welcome at some point, especially when you have a dog too. So I have decided, here's the big announcement for 2022. I have always wanted to do something and have never figured out how on earth the logistics of doing it would ever pan out in my life, that I could basically just put my life on hold for like 6 months to go do this. And perfect storm, and God's kind of dropped it in my lap where I'm literally homeless. I've got money in the bank, have a job that I can still do somewhat remote or just kind of put on hold for a little while too. And I'm healthy, and I don't have a relationship, a husband, a boyfriend, kids, like nothing attaching me to anything. So starting in March, I am going to thru-hike the Appalachian Trail, class 22. So that is super exciting news, at least in my world. Some of you probably think I'm absolutely freaking nuts for wanting to do that. But I have followed thru-hikers. I've been in thru-hiker forums. I've section hiked parts of the AT. And I've wanted to do this for a long time and just really never thought that I could ever possibly make my life pan out in a way that would give me the opportunity to do it. So I don't have an exact start date yet, but I am planning on going northbound. For those of you who aren't familiar with the Appalachian Trail, I'm going to be making videos leading up to it, explaining like gear and how it works and how how you eat and where do you sleep and like all the craziness of how to actually thru-hike the Appalachian Trail. But it starts in Georgia, north of Atlanta at Amicalola Falls, technically Springer Mountain. And then goes all the way north to Maine, and ends at Mount Katahdin in Baxter State Park, sorry. Goes through a couple of national parks on the way. Big question everyone's asking me, as I've been thinking about this and praying about it, is what am I going to do with Zobi? I'm bringing him with me. No, he's not going to hike all 2,000, it's almost 2,200 miles. He's not going to hike all 2,200 miles. I will probably be carrying him for like 3/4 of that, but he is a good little hiker and he really enjoys it. He's gone backpacking with me and I'm going to have all the gear for him as well. Little doggy, they sell this stuff like little doggy sleeping bag and little doggy winter coats and raincoats and all that kind of stuff. So I know that I'm also presenting more of a challenge to myself. There's like kind of a split in the hiker world with the ATs and like, dogs don't belong on the trail and, hike your own hike and okay, whatever. So, I'm going to be hiking my dog's hike. So, he's not allowed in Smoky Mountain National Park or in Baxter State Park at Mount Katahdin. So unfortunately the actual summit, the very end, I won't be with him because it's 5 miles, the very last 5 miles of the trail up to Mount Katahdin. Dogs aren't allowed in Baxter State Park, so gonna have to hopefully have someone meet me in Maine, take Zobi, hike those last 5 miles, and that's that. Smoky Mountains he's not allowed, so would love any of my Smoky Mountain or Atlanta friends to meet me, take Zobi, should be like 4 or 5 days through the Smokies, and then meet me again on the other side and drop Zobi off. There are places to board in the Smokies specifically for this if I need to, but would rather have them with a friend if possible. So lots of planning to do. I'm very excited. I've been watching like a bazillion YouTube videos and making lists of gear, and I'll be at REI a lot between now and then. I'm also going to go up to North Georgia, probably see some friends in Atlanta and do some shakedown hikes, basically practice hikes with my gear and, the weight and the gear that I've bought, make sure I'm, anyway. Well, like I said, I'll be doing videos as the AT prep comes along. In the meantime, one more thing, I also had travel credits with American Airlines I needed to use from some canceled flights with COVID and stuff. So I'm also going to be traveling with Tonya. We'll be scuba diving in the Caribbean. I'm going to the Virgin Islands right after New Year's for like 9 days. So that'll be coming soon as well. So lots coming in 2022. Virgin Islands trip, prep for the AT, and then 6 months on the trail. All right, and the RV better be done by then. That'll be like end of August or September. So, all right, talk to y'all later, and God bless. Thanks. Bye-bye.